Trepanation. When ancient humans opened the skull to treat the mind. If I told you that 7,000 years ago, long before written language, our ancestors were performing brain surgery with surprisingly high survival rates, would you believe it? By the end of this account, it becomes clear that one of the oldest medical procedures is also evidence of humanity's relentless attempt to confront the darkness within the mind, at any cost. This is not just a story about medicine, but about belief, fear, and the fragile boundary between healing and harm. In 1975, archaeologists excavating a site in Peru uncovered a human skull. At first, it seemed unremarkable, until it was cleaned. At the top was a perfectly shaped hole, its edges smooth and showing signs of healing. This was not the result of violence or accident. Someone, thousands of years ago, had intentionally opened this person's skull, and the patient had survived. This discovery was not unique. Similar skulls have been found across the world, from France to Peru, Egypt to China, spanning from the Neolithic period to more recent history. In some cultures, up to 10% of skulls show evidence of this procedure. Humanity practiced it for thousands of years across nearly every inhabited continent. This procedure is known as trepanation, from the Greek trepanon, drill, and cranion, skull. It involved creating an opening in the skull of a living person, removing part of the bone to expose the membrane covering the brain. There was no anesthesia, no antibiotics, only stone or metal tools, steady hands, and belief in something beyond medicine. Why would they do this? The simple answer? They believed it could cure illness. The deeper answer is more complex. The conditions they sought to treat were not seen as physical, but as disturbances of the mind and spirit. Strange behavior, seizures, hallucinations, what we now call mental illness, were believed to result from external forces invading the body. In the ancient world, there was no clear divide between physical and mental health, between medicine and magic. A person acting erratically or hearing voices was thought to be possessed. To heal them, something inside had to be released. Trepanation followed that logic. By opening the skull, a passage was created for evil spirits, demons, or harmful forces to escape. Incredibly, it sometimes seemed to work. At the very least, many patients survived, and some appeared to improve. The earliest evidence dates back to around 7000 BCE. A skull found in Ensisheim, France, from around 5000 BCE, shows clear signs of trepanation and healing, indicating the individual lived months or even years afterward. This astonishes modern scientists. Brain surgery today is among the most complex medical procedures, requiring advanced training and sterile environments. How could prehistoric people achieve this with stone tools and no knowledge of microbes or neuroscience? The answer lies in accumulated skill, observation, and human resilience. Ancient practitioners were not ignorant. They learned from experience, refined their methods, and passed knowledge through generations. Over time, they developed techniques that minimized risk. Three main methods were used. Scraping, gradually wearing down the bone until it could be removed. This was the safest but slowest method. Drilling, creating small holes in a circular pattern, then removing the centerpiece. Faster but riskier. Cutting, slicing out a section using sharp tools like obsidian. Quick but dangerous, requiring precision. Evidence shows some individuals underwent multiple trepanations and survived each one, a remarkable feat even today. Tools varied by era. In the Stone Age, obsidian blades, sharper than modern surgical steel, were used. Later, metal tools improved control. Archaeological finds include surgical kits from ancient Rome designed specifically for skull operations. Though no direct records exist from early periods, later descriptions suggest a structured process. Shaving the head, cleaning the area, possibly with alcohol or honey, using natural substances like opium or alcohol for pain, and restraining the patient. The skull was carefully opened layer by layer, avoiding penetration of the brain's protective membrane. Afterward, the wound was dressed, and the patient cared for, likely with herbal treatments to prevent infection. Survival rates are one of the most surprising aspects. In ancient Peru, estimates suggest 80 to 90% survival. This surpasses outcomes in 19th century Europe, despite more advanced tools. Why Peru? Likely due to centuries of refinement, favorable climate reducing infection, and exceptional surgical skill. The Paracas culture, 800 BCE to 100 CE, left thousands of trepanned skulls, some with multiple surgeries showing full healing. Their techniques were precise. Some skulls reveal rectangular or oval openings with smooth edges. In certain cases, bone was not fully removed but left attached like a hinged flap. Others show metal plates used to cover openings, early forms of implants. Trepanation was not purely medical. It was deeply spiritual. Practitioners were often shamans or priests. The procedure was accompanied by rituals, prayers, and communal belief. Success was not measured only by survival but by perceived relief. Strong belief and ritual could produce real psychological effects, what we now call the placebo effect. In some cases, trepanation may have genuinely helped. Releasing pressure from head injuries or draining infections could improve symptoms. Thus, effective results sometimes emerged from incorrect theories. This paradox appears throughout medical history. Treatments can work even when the underlying explanation is wrong. Trepanation appeared independently across civilizations: Egypt, Greece, Rome, India, China, Africa, and Oceania. In Greece, Hippocrates recognized epilepsy as a brain disorder, not divine punishment, though trepanation was still used. Roman physicians refined surgical tools and techniques. During the Middle Ages in Europe, the practice declined, but Islamic medicine preserved and expanded surgical knowledge. Figures like Al-Zahrawi documented detailed procedures. Later, during the Renaissance, trepanation returned with more scientific purpose, treating injuries and relieving pressure. Still, remnants of old beliefs persisted, such as drilling holes to release bad air or rebalance bodily fluids. Some cases highlight its complexity. The Jericho skull, around 2000 BCE, shows healed trepanation and later ritual decoration, suggesting spiritual significance. A Peruvian child's skull shows successful surgery at age 5. Some individuals underwent multiple procedures over years. These cases also reveal social care. Survivors often needed long-term support, showing that ancient communities invested in caring for vulnerable members. Modern debates question trepanation's purpose. Was it medical, spiritual, or both? Evidence suggests all three. Some cases clearly treat trauma. Others show no injury, implying ritual or mental health motivations. There are also ethical concerns today about studying ancient remains. Some argue it disrespects ancestors. Others say it honors them by revealing their knowledge. Trepanation's legacy in modern medicine is complex. It is the ancestor of modern neurosurgery. Craniotomy remains a fundamental procedure. Yet its origins also reflect misunderstanding of mental illness as supernatural. It took millennia to recognize mental disorders as biological conditions involving brain chemistry, genetics, and environment. Still, trepanation reflects a core human trait: refusal to accept suffering passively. Even with flawed understanding, humans sought solutions. It also reminds us that medical knowledge evolves. What is advanced today may be seen as primitive tomorrow. Trepanation is both achievement and tragedy, skill and error, healing and harm. It is a story of humanity confronting the unknown, driven by belief and determination. When we look at those ancient skulls, we see more than artifacts. We see suffering, ingenuity, compassion, and persistence. Our ancestors lacked modern science but shared the same goal: to heal, to understand, and to fight the darkness within the human mind.